Cheap Trick just released another album, so I want to ask the question, do they still have it, or are they all washed up? Which happens to be the name of the new album released on November 14th, 2025. This is the 21st studio album, and the album title is a play on the 1980 album All Shook Up. The album has 11 tracks. All tracks were written by Rick Nielsen, Tom Peterson, and Robin Zander, with a few exceptions, but this band basically consists of the three people I just mentioned, and they also have a lot of other contributors on the album, and a few of them are the adult children of the two band members. You have Robin Taylor Zander on backing vocals and guitar, who is the son of Robin Zander, and Robin Saylor Zander, also on backing vocals, who is the daughter of Robin Zander. So they kind of have all the same name, but they're not the only kids on the album. There's also Dax Nielsen, son of Rick Nielsen, on drums, and he and the other kids are listed as touring members. They're not listed as members of Cheap Trick, but they all played on the album, whether it's drums, guitar, or vocals. Let me give you some history on this band. They've been around since the late 70s. They've been releasing albums pretty consistently over the years. They usually don't take any longer than 6 or 7 years between albums, so that's pretty impressive. This is one of those bands I've known about over the years, but I was never a big fan of them. I was just familiar with their big singles like I Want You to Want Me and Surrender. I remember listening to them when I was younger. I remember the album Dream Police. It was mentioned in Fast Times at Ridgemont High when I saw that movie when I was younger.
Forgot the magnetism of Robin Zander or the charisma of Rick Nielsen?
That's kid stuff.
Kid stuff? Well, how about the tunes? I want you to want me. The Dream Police.
I remember they had a comeback in the 80s. They had that song The Flame, which was their only #1 hit. And they had another hit, which was an Elvis Presley cover of Don't Be Cruel. But other than that, I really haven't paid much attention to this band up until their last album, which was called In Another World, released in 2021. And I enjoyed that album, and I did a review of that one, and I actually bought it. Here's a CD, because I remember I bought it afterwards. I liked the music, so I bought the CD. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about the songs now, and then at the end of the video, I'll just give my final thoughts, and I give it a score out of 10. So let's talk about the songs now. The album opens with the title track. It's a hard rocker. It sounds like classic Cheap Trick with some lower range vocals by Robin Zander and the hard rocking guitar of Rick Nielsen. I thought it was a pretty good track to kick off the album. After this is a song called All Wrong, Long Gone. Sounded kind of like an alternative rock song from the 90s, but also has Robin Zander using his classic vocal style that goes into the higher ranges. Song has some catchy hooks, and in general, a pretty good rock and roll song. After this is a song called The Riff That Won't Quit. This was one of the singles. The title suggests it's one of the harder, more upbeat rockers. Kind of has an almost AC/DC type of sound with lots of that rock and roll energy. After this was a darker sounding song called Bet It All. Kind of reminded me of a Blue Oyster Cult type of song, where it's a rock and roll song, but it kind of has like a dark, haunted house, Halloween type of sound. Then there was a song called The Best Thing, and this one sounded like that classic 70s Cheap Trick. It was one of the softer songs, had that radio appeal. This was one of the songs that could have been a hit back in the day. Then there was a song called 12 Gates. This was one of the singles. It kind of reminded me of the band King's X with the vocal harmonies, but I'm sure King's X got that sound from Cheap Trick to begin with. But anyway, another pretty good song. Then after this song called Bad Blood, not the Taylor Swift cover, and another one of those classic power pop songs, and another one that could have been on any of their classic albums. I like the guitar tone on that song, and the ending is pretty cool where they do this psychedelic rock outro type of thing. After this is upbeat rocker called Dancing with the Band, and kind of sounds like some classic Cheap Trick, and almost sounds like it was recorded live, but that's probably just studio effects. After this is another ballad called Love Gone. It was a pretty catchy song that could also be a radio hit, And another one that had a guitar sound that reminded me a little of that alternative rock sound of the 90s. There are 2 more songs on the album. Next song is called Long Way to Worcester. I read a review from Metal Hammer saying that this was one of the standout tracks of the album. They described it as delightful, and that it reminded them of either Roy Orbison or Fate of the Nations era Robert Plant. So yeah, I can agree with that. I think I heard the Roy Orbison sound in that song as well. And I thought it was a pretty good song. It kind of has this garage rock type of guitar solo towards the end. Last song is called Wham Boom Bang. It's a very Beatles-esque type of song, which is what to be expected, as this band usually has a few songs in their albums heavily inspired by the Beatles. It's very bouncy, it's happy. It's kind of like a silly song, but it's just like a fun type of song. It's a good way to close out the album. In conclusion, I think it's a solid Cheap Trick album. I would say it's just as good as the previous one, In Another World. I haven't really spent a lot of time with it. It just came out, so it could be better than the previous one, but I'm not really sure. But I think if you like Cheap Trick at this point, you know what you're getting. It's a typical album by them. They're not really doing anything different. They're not being experimental. They're giving you what you would expect. The band still sounds very good considering they're a legacy band. The album has really good production value. I don't really have any complaints about it, other than the fact that there's nothing that completely blew me away. But at the same time, there's nothing here I have to complain about. It's just a good album from a band that's been around for a long time and to have most of the same members. So, I mean, they've changed members here and there, but it's pretty much the same core band. So, my score, 8 out of 10. I'll be listening to it again, and then I'll pick it up. And then I think it's a band that's pretty consistent, and they've been around for a long time, so that's pretty good to hear that. And let me know in the comments, what do you think of the album? Are you a longtime fan of Cheap Trick? How does it compare to their other stuff? Because I haven't really listened to many of their other albums, just some of their stuff from the 70s and like the last 2. So, speaking of Another World, I mentioned I did a review of that, so I'll stick that on the screen. I'll stick it there or the other side, wherever it appears. Please like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.